Good morning. I'm Julie Kay here in the Live Impact Studio on WCNC Plus. It's 9 a.m. We're going to be here till 3 p.m. today, bringing you all the headlines locally, nationally, in weather and news. We want to start, though, with some big news from overnight because we are learning new details about the deadly strike President Trump says he ordered on Islamic State terrorists in Nigeria. Now, the U.S. military reports multiple ISIS terrorists were killed in the attack, which President Trump first announced on social media. This comes after Trump for months has warned the U.S. could take military action in the African nation, claiming ISIS had been targeting Christians in the region. Here's CNN's Nada Bashir tracking this from London with the latest.
We're still not getting full details just yet from U.S. officials with regards to the details surrounding this strike. What we do know is the U.S. Africa Command has said that multiple Islamic State targets and militants were killed overnight in these deadly strikes. We've heard, as you mentioned, from the U.S. president himself addressing this military action in social media, saying and describing this as a powerful and deadly strike against Islamic State terrorists. And this strike took place in the northern Sokoto region of Nigeria, just bordering Niger. Now, at this stage, again, no clear details with regards to the impact. What we do know is that this was carried out in coordination with the Nigerian government. We've heard from a Nigerian presidential spokesperson and advisor saying that both the US and Nigeria are on the same page when it comes to tackling these security concerns. And of course, what we've been hearing from the White House for several weeks now and from the US president himself is the ramping up of concern around the protection of Nigeria's Christian community against extremist attacks. And it's important to note and underscore that, of course, Nigeria does have a deep-rooted history of security troubles when it comes to Islamist extremist groups. But these attacks that we have seen in the past have targeted both Nigeria's Christian and Muslim communities, two of the largest religious communities in the country. So this is certainly a historic concern within the country, but we are now seeing very clearly that first-hand action by the US military in Nigeria, according to officials, in coordination with the Nigerian government.
And we will continue to follow that throughout the day, of course, as we hopefully get some more information now that people are heading back into the office. We want to get to some of your local headlines as well. So right now, CMPD is investigating after a child died this morning. You're taking a look at the scene from just a couple hours ago this morning. We've been watching officers come in and out of these studios and suites for less along Queen City Drive. That's right near the intersection with Billy Graham Parkway in West Charlotte, just north of the airport. Police say they arrived to the motel around 1:30 this morning, where they found the child not breathing. That investigation is, of course, ongoing. Anyone with information should call Crime Stoppers. And again, we will be looking into this throughout the day, hopefully getting some more information from police. We also continue our coverage this morning of the death of a 6-year-old here in Charlotte. In just a few hours, this woman, Taryn McKnight, will be in court charged in connection to the abuse of that child who was found dead last week. It comes as an East Charlotte home linked to the case is back in the spotlight after a fire at the house Wednesday night. Cell phone video shared with WCNC Charlotte shows the fire raging through the home. You can see it here. Firefighters were working to get it under control for a long time. This is the same home where that 6-year-old girl was found. Investigators say the child was forced to live in horrific conditions. Neighbors we spoke to say the situation, of course, has left them heartbroken. Just really shocking video there. These are some of the headlines that we're going to follow here on WCNC Plus throughout the day, both locally and nationally. So know that we've got a lot to get to over the next few hours, but we do want to take a moment to acknowledge also your forecast. We had a record-breaking Christmas. Was it 78 degrees, Majestic?
79,
Ooh.
officially, almost 80 degrees.
That's amazing.
Isn't that kind of odd? Did you love it, or were you just like, meh, it is what it is?
Yesterday when Majestic was in here, I said if we can't have a white Christmas, I'll just take the complete opposite, so I'm okay with it.
I took your phrase for the rest of the day. I'm like, I love what you said, because I never thought of it like that, because I would rather have a white Christmas, but if we're not having that, and we clearly were nowhere near that, it's like, might as well have a Christmas that's almost 80 degrees. So that's exactly what we did. Let's get into it, because now we are looking at a few changes ahead. So record warmth, not just for Christmas Day, but Christmas Eve. 77 degrees Christmas Eve, almost 80 degrees on Christmas Day. Yesterday was the hottest Christmas day that Charlotte has ever recorded in all history. So setting the tone, that's for sure. Now you're waking up today thinking, what in the world is going on? It is cloudy, it is gloomy, and it is much, much cooler. Let's break down exactly what I'm looking at today. So yesterday we topped off at 79 degrees, and today, you guys, only climbing into the 50s, 58 degrees as we're heading into the afternoon, and really we're not far from that right now. So we really didn't cool down a whole lot overnight, and then we're just not going to really warm up a whole lot into the afternoon. Here's a couple of our live cameras holding on to cloudy skies all throughout the day today, but the silver lining is at least we had a gorgeous Christmas day. So we'll take this gloomy one, this cooler one, and if you're hoping that those mid 70 degree temperatures will return, the good news is tomorrow is going to be just as beautiful. Sunny skies to start the day. So Saturday will be gorgeous from sunrise to sunset. Temperatures likely going to be record warm. I mean, we're looking at mid to upper 70s for our Saturday. So maybe you're thinking, all right, I need a break of the holidays. You want to head out to the golf course. I saw so many people out on the lake yesterday actually fishing, and I think it makes sense. I mean, the weather is so perfect, and you'll want to take advantage of it because on Sunday, while it is still mild, it's going to set the tone for cooler weather heading into next week. Right now, though, we're at 55 degrees here in the Queen City, even in the high country, mid to upper 40s. So by no means is it cold outside. It's just a whole lot cooler than where we were yesterday. Cloudy skies even into the afternoon here. And again, I don't think we really have a great chance for seeing any rain showers here in Charlotte. However, in the high country, shower activity, yeah, we could see it for the first half of our day. So if you're traveling back into the city or if you're traveling up into the mountains, could see some scattered shower activity, but not widespread rain or anything like that. High temperatures only rising into the 50s and low 60s, about 62 in Lancaster today, 40s though up in the mountains. And while we only top off at 58 here in Charlotte, our average high for this time of the year, it's 53 degrees. So we're still above average. We're just not getting quite as spoiled like what we saw the last couple of days. Here's our 10-day forecast, just focusing on the temperature. So 58 degrees today, and then tomorrow we're cranking up the heat. 75 degrees is where we'll top off. And again, Sunday, the Panthers are at home if you're heading out to the game. Cloudy, low 60s, and only a 20% chance for a stray shower, so not too bad for football weather. Monday will increase those temperatures just a bit, but I do have my eyes on Monday and especially into Tuesday because look at that big drop in temperatures. Tuesday, our daytime high will only be 48 degrees. Now that's going to hurt a little bit because if that's our high, you know our overnight low is going to be brutal. Now throughout the next few nights, pretty mild, upper 40s, low to mid 50s, which is actually closer to our average high temperature at this time of the year. But then next week, it is going to feel a whole lot like wintertime. Here's our satellite and radar. You can see a storm system actually making its way across the northeast with snowfall on the way for them. For us, we do have a cold front pushing through. It's pulling in the cloudy skies that we have in place right now. And then again, light shower activity possible for the high country, but nothing really to be too concerned about. Heading into the 5 o'clock hour tonight, if you have plans for your Friday evening, it won't be the most beautiful Friday evening. Cloudy, dry, and cooler. And then waking up tomorrow morning, it's going to be beautiful. Clear skies and sunshine for your Saturday morning. Unless you're in the mountains, I think those clouds will hold on a little bit longer. But notice as we fast forward into the later half of the day, everything clears out nicely. And then as we're heading into Sunday, still mainly cloudy. Those clouds roll back into the area. And remember, I mentioned if you're going to the Panthers game, I think this is pretty nice football weather, and it's only a small chance for a random pop-up shower. It's Monday. Monday's the day where those rain chances start to increase. Right now, it's about a 40 to 50% chance, and it's because of a few things that we're watching. We have a stronger cold front pushing through, and it'll likely bring some rainy conditions early in the day on Monday, so sending those kids back to school, maybe you're heading back to work. Rainy through Monday afternoon as well. And then the system just tapers off, moves off to the east of us. But then there's a catch because this front brings rain and wind. So Monday is going to be a windy day. Some of those winds could gust up to around 30 miles an hour, moving in from the north. So then it starts to really drop those temperatures down by Tuesday. You'll see it right here in our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. So looking at a few things today, 58 degrees, cloudy, still above our average, and then tomorrow's the day to enjoy it. Get outside, soak up the weather. Still pretty mild through Sunday. Monday, that wet weather starts to return, and I think with the wind, it's going to make it feel even colder than 65 degrees. So keep that in mind. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, cooler daytime highs, but especially those early morning hours with below freezing temperatures. So yes, it's winter time as those kids are heading off to the school bus stop. Make sure they actually have their big winter jacket, because temperatures Wednesday morning will be dropping down to about 25, 26 degrees.
Okay, so enjoy it while you can.
Yes.
Enjoy Saturday.
Bottom line, make those plans for Saturday. It's kind of all over the place, like roller coaster, up, down. Here we go, loop-de-loop.
Something for everyone.
That's right.
Except for snow.
Exactly.
Everything else.
Exactly. Yes.
Majestic, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back here in 2 minutes. Welcome back to the Live Impact Studio. It is 9:13. I'm Julie Kay here with Jeb Goldman. We're here all day, all early afternoon. Lots to talk about. Of course, though, now that Christmas is over, it's time to think about the new year. So we're getting some of our end-of-year packages and stories in, reviewing the year in all sorts of ways. But here's NBC's look at the biggest stories from 2025.
2025 began with back-to-back tragedies. New Year's celebrations turned deadly in New Orleans. A terror attack shutting down the city's famed Bourbon Street. Just days later,
we drove up and I just kept saying, my home.
Deadly and destructive fires tear across Los Angeles, destroying thousands of homes.
We wanted to see for ourselves what the damage was, but it's gone. It's gone. It's a total loss.
Heartbreak in Texas. Young girls attending summer camp among the more than 130 people who lost their lives in catastrophic flooding.
Please pray for our community.
And tragedy in our nation's capital. A passenger jet colliding with a U.S. Army helicopter, the deadliest U.S. plane crash in nearly 2 decades.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Donald Trump returned to the White House. Job and spending cuts, tariffs, and immigration enforcement and raids becoming political and social flashpoints. Court battles, protests, and marches playing out across the country. The president claiming there was widespread crime, ordering National Guard troops to several U.S. cities, leading to clashes with protesters.
We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're doing.
I'm not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
A White House shouting match as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, President Trump, and others met about Russia's invasion into Ukraine. Months later, a red carpet welcome for Russian President Vladimir Putin landing on American soil. But the high-stakes summit in Alaska did not end with a deal to end the Russia-Ukraine war. 2 years after Hamas attacked Israel, a ceasefire agreement reached. The last living Israeli hostages held by Hamas released in exchange for the release of Palestinian prisoners and detainees. In October and November, we saw the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, fights over health care dividing Congress, the 43-day saga ending with a deal to reopen through January. 6 years after his death, convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein back in the spotlight. A twists and turns saga from the White House to Capitol Hill as survivors pushed for release of the so-called Epstein files.
I know everybody sees us today as grown adults, but we are fighting for the children that were abandoned and left behind in the reckoning.
We're not counting gang violence.
The assassination of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk stunned the country.
It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals.
Comedian Jimmy Kimmel following criticism and political pressure over comments related to Kirk's death taken off air. Free speech protests ensued before Kimmel eventually returned to hosting his late-night show the following week. And our nation said goodbye to political pillars. The 39th President Jimmy Carter honored. And Dick Cheney, vice president under George W. Bush, also remembered. Tributes poured in across the globe after the death of Pope Francis. White smoke revealing the first Latin American pontiff would be replaced by the first American Pope, Leo XIV, a Chicago White Sox fan turned leader of the Catholic Church. A brazen heist at the world's most visited museum, thieves robbing the Louvre of jewels estimated to be worth more than $100 million. And after what was supposed to be a short mission to space stretched into more than 9 months, NASA astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore finally returned home.
Thank you to a nation that got involved in all of this. It makes it special, not just for us, but for I think our nation as a whole.
Pretty honored and humbled by the fact of when we came home, like, wow, there are a lot of people who are interested.
I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
All right, definitely lots to look back on in 2025. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News here on WCNC Plus. I'm Julie Kay. About 9:20 on your day after Christmas morning. We're going to get to some happy news, though. Some good news from the holiday. This is a soldier being reunited with their family just last night.
Candace Ishmael, and it's CandaceIshmell.
And your son, what's his name?
Joshua Tillman.
Okay. Can you tell us, so you're here reuniting with your son. Tell us about that.
I haven't seen him since July. He's been in Arizona since October of last year. He was waiting for his clearance to be able to be deployed, so that's why he's been in Arizona this long. But getting to see him at Christmas this year, so I'm excited about that.
Okay. Hold on, let me take off sticks. Okay, cool. I'm good. Yeah.
Say that one more time. You said getting to see him at Christmas. Tell us about that again.
Yeah, so getting to see him at Christmas. I haven't seen him since July, so it's going to be a wonderful experience to get to see him again. Yeah.
And the July, that's a long time for a parent to not see their child.
It is. It really is. So my heart is full.
What will be the first thing that comes to your mind? What will, when you see him?
Hugs, kisses. I'm probably going to about knock him down because I'm so excited to see him. I miss him so much.
What does your son mean to you?
Is the microphone like inside for sure? Yeah.
It's like right here. Do I need to move it?
So, okay, perfect. I thought it was like tucked down. No, you're good. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Yeah. What will it mean when you see your son? What will that mean to you?
It will mean I'm grateful, Lord. Thank you for bringing my baby back to me. I'm happy to share him, but at the same time, I miss him so bad. Just that void in my heart of missing him, it's just going to be complete. I can't even explain. I don't have the words to express how happy I'm going to be to see him.
What does he mean to you?
Everything. Like, if you know me, then you know I'm definitely a mama's bear. Like, I would move heaven and earth if I could to see my babies, any of them. I have 3 of them. He's the middle child. So, yes, I love him, love him, love him.
And when did you get the news that he was coming home?
I just got the news this morning. Yes, this morning for sure that he would be able to come home.
And I talked to the woman who's kind of like the founder of the military program, and she said a lot of times it's really tough on families financially.
Yes.
It's so expensive.
It is.
What's your story about that?
Well, for him to be able to come home at such short notice, his ticket was going to be like $700. That's a lot around this time of the year. And then just travel in general now is just so expensive. And so I wasn't for sure if he was going to be able to make it home because I didn't have that kind of money, and I know he does it. The military don't pay like that great. So I'm definitely appreciative of them helping to get him home.
So you just got the news this morning?
Yes, yes.
So you had no idea?
I had no idea. But I am so happy. Yes. No idea.
You're a single mother? Did you raise your kids?
Oh no, his father was a Marine Corps.
His father was in the Marine Corps.
Yes, and my oldest son, who was 25, his brother was in the Marine Corps, and he's Army. So we're a military family, but that was my previous marriage.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So overall, money is tight for so many families.
Yes. Yes.
Last question: what will be the first thing you and your son will do when you get settled? What will you do?
I definitely got to see how he's doing. Like, how is it going? He doesn't get to talk to me that much because he's in intelligence, so they don't get to mingle too much with their families. So we gotta have those talks about how's life, how are you doing? We can reminisce about old days and just I know I'm just gonna love on them.
And lastly, when you got that call this morning, what did you do? Like, what was your reaction?
I was in traffic. I had to pull over. My heart I couldn't do nothing but just weep because I was so happy, you know, to know that I would get to see him. He's coming home, you know, because I didn't think he was going to be able to come home. So.
What?
Sorry, you can go ahead. I'll wait till you're done.
Tell us about, you said weeping. What did those tears, tell us about those tears. What did those tears mean to you?
Of relief, you know, that, hey, I am going to be complete. I'll have all 3 of my children home for Christmas, not just missing no one, you know, not, I don't know how to explain it, just the void of not having one of your children home for Christmas when you're used to as a family. Having everybody home, everybody enjoying, laughing, talking, eating good food, you know, those types of things. So I was just weeping with grace and mercy and thankfulness, and Lord, just, you did it, God. You answered my prayer.
And lastly, I do want to ask you, how long has your son been in the military? Did he just go in?
He went in July of last year. So
July of last year, and this July was what time will this be since you've seen him? Will this be your second time?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
second
two times in a little over a year.
Yeah.
It's tough on a parent.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And you want them to grow and blossom and do everything God called them to do, but at the same time, you're like wanting to hold on to, this is my baby, you know. But I do want him to be successful. You know, I'm happy that he chose to serve, because it's great men and women like him are the reason our country is safe. But it is definitely a sacrifice on our family to share him with the military, you know.
Okay, start talking loud right now. Any final thoughts, any closing remarks?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to the foundation that, you know, is doing this for veterans to be able to come home, for the soldiers coming home. Thank you. Anybody who isn't already supporting or sponsoring this organization, please do so. If you need help yourself for them to make a dream come true or wish come true, or just reach out to them, you know.
So my big question is, what does Christmas mean to you and your family and your son?
It means a lot to us. It's our favorite time of the year. We are Christians. You know, we believe in God, we love God, and just to be able to celebrate the Savior's birthday together means a lot to my family. You know, we usually go to church on Christmas Eve and celebrate, because we go to Elevation Church here in Charlotte. We usually do that, and we usually just, you know, exchange gifts and enjoy good food, and just to have that family time together means a lot to us, because it's not just about family, but it's the love you share, the gifts you give, and just coming together in love. That's what it's all about. It's just sharing the love between your family and enjoying one another, because tomorrow is not promised. And so you have to cherish every moment you have with your family. And so that's why it means so much to us, because so much is happening around us. And you just can't take for granted that I walk out to the door today and I'm going to see you tomorrow. You can't take that for granted. So that's why I'm so thankful.
And what is Christmas Day going to look like for you guys?
Oh my goodness. We're going to eat some good food, we're going to laugh, and we're going to enjoy life, and just be thankful and grateful for all that God has blessed us with.
You cooking or is he cooking? Put him to work.
Well, I had the kids prepare a dish, so Joshua won't get to prepare a dish today, Christmas Day, but the other kids did, and I did too, so we're all going to just partake in some good food and enjoy life.
All right. And how old is he?
He's 20. Yes, 20 years old.
So what was your first thought when you saw your mom and sister sitting there?
I was like, they do not know I'm coming right now, because they were just sitting there. So I was like, I'm finna surprise them. Yeah.
Does it feel good to be able to come home on Christmas Eve?
Yes, it does. It feels great. It feels amazing. Being home for so long, being away from home, thousands of miles apart. It's great to see my family again.
What has it been like to be on the other side of the country?
Lonely, of course, and just not having them there to talk to in person and stuff. It's been difficult a little bit, but that's why I'm so appreciative of the fact that the miles from military paid for me to come home. It's definitely cherishable, and I do appreciate it greatly that they did that for me.
How did you tell us what that experience means to you for them to give you home?
It means a lot, and I know I can't really express it in words, but it means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to other soldiers around the world, because it's like a big deal for everything, for all of us. Like, it's a big deal to see our family. It means the world to us.
How did you first hear about them?
I heard about them through my command team, my leadership, back where I'm stationed at Fort Huachuca, Alpha Company 309. Yeah, they pushed it out towards us, because some of us were saying we weren't going to be able to go back home. Some of us had financial hardships and stuff like that, so they pushed it out and made sure that we were able to get the opportunity.
We talk a lot about the sacrifices that service members make, but do you think that being away from family or not getting to come home for holidays is a big one?
It's a big sacrifice, yes it is.
And your mom was telling us that she just got the call today. Coming home.
Yes, ma'am.
What's going through your mind?
You said what now?
What's going through your mind when you hear that she just got that call today?
Oh no, I just wanted to surprise her. I know she's been missing me a lot, so yeah, I wanted to surprise her, put a smile on her face. I told her I wasn't going to be able to come home a while ago, so yes, ma'am.
Definitely grateful. What do you say to the organizers who made it possible? Because they were saying just how so many, like you mentioned, so many military folks can't make it home because it's so expensive.
I want to say that I appreciate it, and that they should keep it should keep being a thing. Like, they should still I feel like it's a good program, like, for the soldiers and stuff like that.
What are you looking forward to the most this holiday? What are you going to cherish the most?
Probably the food. No, I'm playing, but yeah, definitely spending time with my family, the food, and seeing friends and family that I ain't seen in a long time.
What is this moment like for you?
I can't even express how happy I am right now. Yeah, definitely grateful and thankful. I hope they continue the program, because it definitely has made a huge difference for me and my family. To see my baby again. Listen, he doesn't like for me to kiss him in public, but I have to do it. He says he's not a baby anymore, but he's always my baby.
I have a question for you. So the program works like you volunteer and then you get to fly, right?
Yes, sir.
What was your volunteering?
My volunteering, I did public volunteering, and some was at my company. Like, I painted rocks for shelters, and I helped at the Army Wellness Center, which is like a center for veterans aftercare, like getting out of the service, retired, and stuff like that. So we help at those centers, and that was led by my leadership, my command team, Staff Sergeant Chan, and she helped get us those opportunities to get those hours and make a difference, give back to the community, and now be reimbursed in this way by Miles from Military, and I definitely appreciate it. I'm grateful for it.
Did you learn anything just about the volunteering? Did that bring anything besides the miles? What was your takeaway from the volunteer work?
Oh, from the volunteer work, it was just getting new experiences, putting myself out there, trying to learn about different things and grow in that aspect. I originally hadn't knew about the Miles from Military plan, so like it was great to hear about it after the fact. I was like, wow, look, doing some good can get you. So, other than that, yeah.
And you haven't seen your mother since July.
Yes, ma'am.
Second time seeing her since you've been gone.
Yes, ma'am.
How is that for you, not being able to see her as much as you would like?
It's hard, but I have my comrades back home, that back at the base, we all going through the same things, so we kind of keep each other up. Other than that, though, I try to communicate with them and talk to them as much as I can, even though I'm busy a lot. But it's been hard, definitely, but you know, that's the sacrifice, part of the sacrifice of being in the military, so yes, ma'am.
Any final thoughts, closing remarks?
Yeah, I'm just grateful for the Miles for Military program. I do appreciate it, and I hope that the program continues to be a thing. And yeah.
Anything you want to add?
Thank you, Miles for Military, for bringing me my baby.
A sweet story this Friday morning. We're going to get to another break, but just know that we have a lot of news headlines to get to, so stick with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to WCNZ Plus. I'm Julie Kay, and we want to stick with some good news this day after Christmas morning. So our Miles Harris yesterday, if you were watching, he got a chance to speak with a group that is helping people get training for those high-paying tech jobs, those really cool tech jobs, particularly in Western North Carolina after they were hit so hard after Helene. So here's this interview from the other day where we get a look inside this program and how it's helping.
My name is Mike Terrell. I'm the Senior Managing Director for Perscolas, North Carolina.
What is Perscolas?
So Perscolas is a 501c3 nonprofit. We've been around for 30 years. We launched here in Charlotte 5 years ago, and what we do is we provide opportunities for folks to take completely cost-free classes around different technologies and professional development to support them into technology careers.
Now, it just has some graduates, right?
Yeah.
But this is expanded, I feel like, though, too, because now we're obviously hitting more than just like this part of Charlotte and North Carolina, Western North Carolina as well. Talk to me about the impact and the why and kind of stretching through those areas.
Yeah, absolutely. So being one of the campuses that launched during the pandemic, we were fully remote. And once we decided to come back in person, we wanted to continue to use that remote training muscle that we had sort of built. And one thing that I saw, just knowing the landscape in North Carolina and having lived here for a long time, I mean, we're the second most rural state in the U.S., right? So the question that I ask myself is, how do we take these great programs that we have and how do we expand them out and offer them in some of these communities? And so Western North Carolina was the initial focus. We started with Wilkes Community College in Wilkesboro, and then expanded out to AB Tech out in Asheville, in part through support from the Black Rock Foundation. We've been enrolling folks out that way for the past couple of years.
Obviously, that need grew following Helene, though, as well. And like, why was it so important for you guys to help them build, obviously, through a career? But I mean, it's essentially putting more money in their pockets, hopefully, as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we all know the hurricane was super devastating, and in the wake of that, I think the opportunities for us to be a part of that recovery from a financial perspective, right? Even if we can play the smallest part in that, connecting folks to wages that are twice what they may have been making before. We also recognize that the hospitality industry was severely impacted, among a lot of other things. And so, how are we going to get those folks connected to those jobs that are going to allow them to stay in those communities in Western North Carolina, even when the hospitality industry had taken a big hit because of the hurricane.
And you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what is the biggest takeaway that you hope that these recent graduates now take, or looking on to the next step into their life, really? So.
Yeah, I just keep pushing. This is, I feel like it's a new world every day, right? We've got all sorts of new technologies that are coming out and disrupting. We've got AI. The one thing that I think that we really instill into our learners, and a lot of them really come with it just from previous experience, is they have so much determination. They've been through adversity, right? So this is nothing new to them. They're just now going into it with a bigger toolbox, right? And they've got some tech skills. They've got us for support. We're here, really, we say for about 2 years post-graduation for people, but we don't turn people away. If somebody comes back and says, hey, I want to help, I want to get help with interviewing, I want to get help with my resume, we're here to help those folks. But they have the grit, the determination, and that goes a long way in moving into a new career and being successful.
I'll say it's more than just about the tech skills, right?
Absolutely.
Anybody that gets a chance to see this story, Mike, what do you want people to know?
Yeah, we're here first and foremost. I mean, I think that even though we've been here for 5 years and we've definitely, we've grown, we've enrolled a lot more people. There's still a lot of folks who don't know that this is even an option, and there's still a lot of folks that don't know that tech as a career field is even an option. So I would say if you're thinking about what to do next, if you feel like you're stuck, right? If you are interested in moving into something new, please come check us out. Perscolas.org/North Carolina, and yeah, I think that's what I'd say.
You good with that, Ruben? I'm good with it.
Cool.
All good, man.
Awesome.
You're a pro. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're now a graduate of the Perscolas program. So, what made you get involved in even being a part of this program? Let's start with that.
Well, I had been wanting to kind of go through a career transition for a while. I graduated my undergrad with a bachelor's in elementary education. A lot of my need for a change stemmed just like from kind of a financial standpoint. So with wife as a social worker and me having gone to school to be a teacher, I just didn't know how in our area we would really support ourselves. I also kind of wanted to look for a career path that had room for growth. And after I found out about Perscolas and kind of explored the IT path, it definitely seemed like the right move. Perscolas gave me the opportunity, with it being a free program, to kind of get my foot in the door.
Okay. Now, you live out in Western North Carolina, in
Yes.
Henderson County. Did that play a factor into the job market things for you in that nature, and if so, how so?
Just being in Western North Carolina, you mean?
Yeah. Like, especially after Helene, I should say, more specifically.
After Helene, obviously Helene had a big impact on a lot of different a lot of different job sectors. At the time, I was working in the food and beverage and hospitality industry, and that definitely took a big hit. So I had been exploring IT for a little bit before that, but with the slowdown, I would say it kind of stemmed me to push myself a little more and like really kind of jump on that.
Okay. Now, obviously, this is a big tech certificate graduation part of it, though, too. What did you learn beyond that, though, would you say?
Beyond that, well, they had a professional development program built in, and that definitely gave me a lot of like the interview skills and the professional skills that I needed going from the hospitality industry to something a little more structured, I would say.
Okay. Now, what do you plan on doing now, would you say?
Well, that's a great question. Right now, I was just trying to get my foot in the door. At this point, I just want to keep learning. I want to keep growing. Ideally, I have a couple different goals. So like my 5-year goal, I would love it if I could work into like being a system administrator or like a network administrator. Long term, I would love to kind of grow through my career up maybe to a director role. I'd love to get into leadership.
Okay. Do you ever think or wonder, hey, if you didn't get involved with this program, where life would be at for yourself, for your family?
Yes, a good amount.
Yeah.
I was self-studying for a while, but I don't, let me think about how I want to word this.
Yeah.
So, through my educational journey, I definitely found that I need people that I can bounce off of and ask questions to, and I need structure and goals and timelines. But at this point in my life, I just didn't have the financial ability to go through a traditional program or even take a community college course. So when I found out about the partnership with AB Tech Community College and the fact that it was 100% free, I just had to give my time. It just felt like the right move.
And this is like, from what the numbers look like right now, I mean, this like doubles hourly pay, things like that, right?
Roughly, yeah.
Give or take, though, right?
Give or take,
and
yep.
So I guess, especially when we talk about the economic impact, especially following Helene, especially in the Western North Carolina area, I mean, is it awesome to kind of see programs like this be available beyond just in the Charlotte area, but really in other parts of North Carolina, would you say, too, man?
Definitely. I mean, so I think not only does it allow people who don't necessarily want to go through that long-term traditional educational program to have access to this field, but it also allows people like myself who may be struggling financially or, you know, are trying to make ends meet and just need something that allows for, you know, to kind of further your life or try to, you know, meet your goals and especially help your family out. It was amazing to see.
Yeah, I'm good with that, man.
Great.
So we'll press record and we'll do the whole thing. I'm totally messing with you.
Oh, for a second I was like, oh man, I gotta go back through what I said.
I'm totally messing with you though. So, and talk to me about like how did Helene impact you guys though too?
Jeb and I really enjoyed that joke that Miles made. That's a classic. We're going to take a quick break and get to some more local news headlines, some weather, some national headlines, all sorts of stuff that we have coming up until 11 a.m. before our break to head to our midday newscast. So stick with us. We've got a lot more to get to. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Julie Kay. We want to get out to one of our other big stories of the upcoming weekend, which is, of course, the Panthers home game, which is their last-ditch effort for the playoffs. So it's a big, big game coming up. Exciting to have it here at home. Our Danielle Stein caught up with Jonathan Cooley ahead of the matchup.
We are really getting down to the end of the regular season now, which is so crazy to say because this Panthers season has been so fun. Jonathan, I just want to start with obviously the big news of the week. One of your players that you work very closely, J.C. Horn, getting recognized on the Pro Bowl. What does that just mean to you to see a guy like him getting recognized in back-to-back years?
I mean, it's super exciting just because he's worked so hard and done so much after starting his career with a bunch of injuries, and then these last 2 seasons to be available and everybody in the world can see how great of a player he is. It's just been great for everybody to share in what we've known about him, and he deserves all the recognition that he gets.
He's a leader on the field, off the field. We hear him in the locker room speak, but I'm always fascinated during practice when we get a little glimpse of him and Mike Jack working off to the side. How do the two of them kind of make each other better as players? Obviously, Mike's having a great year himself too, but it seems like they have their own routines and they really feed off of the energy that they bring to one another.
Yeah, this year they've really gravitated toward each other, and just they're both two different players, and so what one is good at, they help the other one at it. So like they're able to, we do these things on Friday where they compete against each other, and I kind of like to amp up the friction between the two because the competitiveness and like seeing who can get more picks. Yeah. So yeah, they've been able to hit a groove and sometimes just able to like roll the ball out and they get into their thing and they're out there on the field with each other, and so the more cohesion that they have, the better off we'll be. But I've loved seeing that relationship bloom.
How does that competitive aspect and also just the talent level that the two of them have kind of also push you in terms of how you coach them and just how you approach coaching in general?
Well, I think it just, I respond really well to challenges, and so when we have guys that are competitive, that want to be at their best, it requires me to show up at my best every single day, and being able to have that push from the players is just what I crave. So I'm right at home with it.
They both have had a number of picks this season so far. Lathan Ransom, obviously, with that game-sealing one just this past weekend. The defense has stepped up, especially compared to where they were from a season ago. From your perspective, who's been here for a couple years now, what's kind of been the root of the turnaround, would you say, that the defense has been able to make under you guys and the coaching staff?
Well, I think the guys staying steady and patient and really believing in us as coaches that we want to put them in the best position possible. And I think we've been seeing that belief come to life through the guys making plays. And I think it'll just continue to get better and better as we build cohesion. But really from Dave's last year to this year, just been able to build off the things that we had last year and not start at square one. And that's really held a benefit for us. Now these guys are able to play together and stacking downs. It only makes us better.
I remember during the offseason, Dave was asked about Ejiro Evera's game plan and his defensive scheme, and he said, I like the scheme, and we're sticking with that scheme. And it seems like you're saying, rather than starting from square one, is sticking with that plan and just working forward with it. How would you say, I know you guys have had a history with each other going back towards the Rams as well, your relationship grown between you and Ejiro as you guys are working through this season at this point?
I think the trust level is probably at an all-time high between him and I. He allows me, he empowers me through what I see best from the defensive backs in our room, and then we're on the same page with how he calls the game. And I think it's vital for any coordinator to have alignment with his position coaches to be able to call the game exactly how they're coaching it on an individual basis. Yeah. And when that comes to life, you see a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun. There's been so many moments this season. Is there anything that comes to mind for someone maybe in the defensive passing game that you can point to being like, this is it, this is all the work we have, been working for, and we're seeing it on display? Or any pick in particular, or any particular coverage that you really look back at and you're like, this shows how far we have come, maybe from this year to the prior years?
I think there's a couple plays that stand out. I think there was a play against the Packers when Trayvon Moehrig. I have a comment on that play on our system that this is our defense. We talk about when people throw the ball deep versus us, we want it to be a team meeting in the deep part of the field. And there was 3 of our guys there, and he just caught the pop fly. And so I think that was a quintessential marker of like what we talk about in meetings, what we want our defense to look like, and that play was one of them that came to life. And these guys have been awesome this year. They're a tough, smart group that have been available consistently for us, and so there's numerous plays out there that come to life in a walkthrough setting that we may only get a chance to cover once, and they make big plays off of it.
Yeah. What is that personality, or I guess descriptor, you would say you want this defense to have and to hold on to?
Tough and smart.
Yeah.
I want guys that be able to play physical, that they have to deal with us when we throw hands on the perimeter. And then I want a smart unit that understands our situations and capitalizes when the moment's right.
One of the biggest parts of this year in terms of the defense, of course, getting Derek Brown back and healthy. How does he make everyone on all phases of the defense better as players?
One of my mentors told me is like your A player's got to play A.
Yeah.
And Derek Brown's an A player. So when he's out there, throwing people out the club, it's
literally
him being back is you could just say him single-handedly has improved our run defense with as good as he's played. But he just gives calmness, and then he's come to life in a pass rush since this year, and so just having him out there gives us confidence. I know it gives Ejiro confidence in calling the game, and I know it gets our players confidence understanding like that big homie's up there protecting us.
You mentioned Trayvon Moehrig, and I mentioned Lathan earlier too. There's been a couple of new insertions into this defense as well this year. Of course, guys like Derek, not new, but he's back, and there's been a couple more guys who have been here over time, but some of these new faces. And then we can also look to the linebackers with some of the other rookies, Christian Rozeboom as well. How are just like the pieces you feel come together from what you guys went out to do during the offseason, whether it be drafting or trades or just kind of painting this picture of this new look Panthers team?
Well, I think, it's a credit to our front office and collaboration with the coaches that we had a plan and a vision for our defense and what we wanted to look like in year 2. And players like Trayvon, he's exactly and even better than we expected. And Christian Rozeboom has been able to fit in his role well. Especially it's been an elevated role because Josie Jewell went out for us, which was unexpected. And I think the vision and the collaboration between the coaches in the front office has allowed our new pieces to come to life. So that's a credit to Dan Morgan and his staff for sure.
Week 17, there's just 2 games left in this regular season, and you guys are sitting in first place in the NFC South. Of course, it's not shored up yet. There's still plenty of more football to be played, but is this a point where you guys envisioned you would be, just I guess for you being here for your 3rd year now, that you're here fighting for the division and fighting for a chance to extend your season into the postseason at this point?
I'm a big believer in speaking things into existence, and in the law of attraction. So this offseason, when people would ask me about, well, when's your season ending? And I'm like, we are going to the playoffs, so sometime in February is the expectation. And just wrapping our mind around the vision. And so, like, when you get here, it's not a surprise. I think that's me personally, that just speaking that this is what we're going to be. Let's be as present present as possible. And, you know, I think we can do anything as long as we just stay at it. And, you know, in the difficult times, you know, you kind of got to remind yourself of that vision. You know, we started off, you know, 1-3. And so just remaining at the vision and understanding our plan, if we just keep working at it, will come to fruition.
Has any of that surprised you in any way, to be living out that vision that you know, painted and spoken to existence, I guess? So
you know, I think it's a pleasant surprise. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I've gone into NFL seasons where I felt like we were going to repeat as champions, and we had a rough year. You know, so, you know, with expectations low, being able to exceed those has been like a pleasant surprise to people around. But like with the way each game has gone, it's like, okay, I could see that happening. But definitely like you're pleased because you're just trying to align your expectations with what happens. And so the difficult thing is when you get frustration is when your expectations aren't met.
Sure.
And so I wouldn't necessarily say like we're shocked, but also just like we're excited to be here. Right. You know, so.
You've been part of winning teams that have made it deep into the postseason. What does that winning recipe, I guess, look like from a coaching staff's perspective of a team that's going to make a deep run? What is the genetic makeup of a team who is not, you know, letting their foot off the gas at this time of the season?
It's funny you say foot on the gas. So that's the name of our defensive back group chat. And so I think the main thing, especially with us being a young team, is continue to push ourselves and finding ways to evolve through adversity. Because, you know, when we were a championship team, there was a lot of adversity that we had occurring on a day-to-day basis that we had to overcome. You have personalities, you got competitiveness. And so, you know, just being able to evolve and create, you know, the vision for what you want to be, and like remaining present and understanding like we've got to take it day by day, week by week, you know, because you could be on top of the world one week and then the next week everybody thinks you're not going to win another game. Yeah. And so the only thing that's constant is how you show up for yourself and the people around you, and how you continue to put the work in.
Tell me more about that group chat. Who named that? What does that mean? Was that an inside joke?
So in the spring, I was a little upset at the guys because we had a down day.
Okay.
You know, some of our young guys were making plays during OTAs, and it just, you know, it came to me during the off season when we were getting ready for training camp that we have a young team, and in order to get what we want, we've got to keep our foot on the gas. We can't relax, and we've got to stay the course. So if it's me being the one pushing the buttons of the people, or it's the other guys, it's just a reminder that's got to be our calling card as we mature as a football team.
And I think even using Lathan as that example from last week to this week, where there was a play that happened where he could have gotten really down. He was probably hearing a lot of outside noise. He told us he heard a lot of outside noise, and to respond just the following week in what was arguably one of the biggest plays of that win against Tampa. What does that say about your core for the DBs, but also just young players in general on how they're learning? And, you know, don't let you sweat the small stuff sort of thing, and keep looking forward and don't let your foot off the gas.
Yeah, I think he's been a really impressive rookie, because one thing I learned about Lathan is about the Rams game is that he responds best to when people doubt him. And so with the play that happened against the Saints, you know, gunfighters get shot, and you know, Lathan's is definitely a gunfighter, and, you know, so those type of plays may happen, but we as a coaching staff, we don't want to change anything about him. And so like we had total trust and belief that he'd be ready when the next play. And so I think a lot of the guys are like that, is, you know, we just try to have a shooter's mentality, and if we miss, that just means we're getting closer to a make, and if we make, that means we're going to make it again. So, you know, I think a lot of the guys exude that, and Lathan were just the most recent example. I think with Nick Scott being available for consistent plays, and I think there was a lot of outside noise about like his play from last year, and we've had a lot of belief in Nick Scott from the very beginning since we got him. We won a championship with him, and he was an excellent player. And it's just kudos to who he is as a person, to be able to overcome the bumps in the road and to be able to be available and a constant for us on the back end. Because I don't think we'd be able to do the things we are. He's a captain in communication. So I'm just really proud of the work that he's put in, and he's a big part of our glue.
All right, we're taking another quick break here, but stick with us because in 2 minutes we're going to hit back on all of our major headlines that you're going to want to know about throughout the day. We'll be back in 2. Welcome back to Live Impact News here on WCNC Plus. I'm Julie Kay, just a couple minutes after 10 a.m. So since we're at the top of the hour, we want to walk you through all the important news of the day you're going to want to pay attention to. So starting out with the big news from overnight, we're learning more details about the deadly strike operation President Trump says he ordered on Islamic State terrorists in Nigeria. The U.S. military reports multiple ISIS terrorists were killed in the attack, which the president first announced on social media. This comes after Trump, for months, has warned the U.S. could take military action in the African nation, claiming ISIS had been targeting Christians in the region. CNN's Nana Bashir is tracking this from London.
Well, we're still not getting full details just yet from U.S. officials with regards to the details surrounding this strike. What we do know is the U.S. Africa Command has said that multiple Islamic State targets and militants were killed overnight in these deadly strikes. We've heard, as you mentioned, from the U.S. president himself addressing this military action in social media, saying and describing this as a powerful and deadly strike against Islamic State terrorists. And this strike took place in the northern Sokoto region of Nigeria, just bordering Niger. Now, at this stage, again, no clear details with regards to the impact. What we do know is that this was carried out in coordination with the Nigerian government. We've heard from a Nigerian presidential spokesperson and advisor saying that both the US and Nigeria are on the same page when it comes to tackling these security concerns. And of course, what we've been hearing from the White House for several weeks now and from the US president himself is the ramping up of concern around the protection of Nigeria's Christian community against extremist attacks. And it's important to note and underscore that, of course, Nigeria does have a deep-rooted history of security troubles when it comes to Islamist extremist groups. But these attacks that we have seen in the past have targeted both Nigeria's Christian and Muslim communities, two of the largest religious communities in the country. So this is certainly a historic concern within the country, but we are now seeing very clearly that first-hand action by the US military in Nigeria, according to officials, in coordination with the Nigerian government.
We'll, of course, be following that throughout the day, hoping to get some more updates now that it is daytime, hoping that we get some more information from the White House as well. Getting back to our local headlines, this is what you'll need to know. So this is a scene from this morning. CMPD is investigating after a child died here. This is, you can see police walking in and out of the building. We've been watching officers do this for hours at the studios and Suites for Less. This is along Queen City Drive. That's right near the intersection with Billy Graham Parkway in West Charlotte, just north of the airport. Police say they arrived at the motel around 1:30, where they found the child not breathing. That child was taken to the hospital and died shortly after. Investigation, of course, ongoing, so anyone with information should call Crime Stoppers. We also continue our coverage this morning of the death of a 6-year-old earlier here in Charlotte. In just a few hours, this woman, Taryn McKnight, will be in court. She's charged in connection to the abuse of that child who was found dead last week. Comes as an East Charlotte home link to this case. Is back in the spotlight after this fire at the house Wednesday night. Cell phone video shared with WCNC Charlotte, you see it here, shows the fire raging through the home as firefighters battled to get it under control. Now, this is the same home where that 6-year-old was found. Investigators say the child was forced to live in horrific conditions. Neighbors we spoke with say the situation, of course, has left them heartbroken and with a lot of questions that we're hoping to get answers to in the beginning today in court, but also throughout the next couple of weeks. We're going to take another quick break, but come back with us in 2 minutes. We'll have more news for you. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News. Now, we want to get to our top pop culture moments of 2025. I am going to read you the pre-written toss to the package. I am not going to sell it because I don't condone it, but I want you to make the decision for yourself. Here it is. A golden song, a swift engagement, and a Bad Bunny bonanza. 2025 delivered some memorable moments. How many moments?
6'7". That's
right.
the whole thing. Julie loves 6'7". She actually was an early adopter of the trend.
That's slander.
It's just a matter of fact. It's just a matter of fact.
I still don't get it. I don't know what they mean.
It's provocative. 6, 7.
Maybe Joe Fryer will explain it to us.
I'm hoping he does. Let's take a listen.
I don't know that he's the one to deliver that information.
Joe
but
Fryer knows. He's in the know. He's plugged in.
Let's see. We'll see.
It was a good year to be Bad Bunny.
You're fired. Fired?
The rapper dominated the charts while giving Puerto Rico a boost with his historic residency. Taylor ended her record-breaking tour, then swiftly launched a new era.
This is my brand new album.
Her 12th album, and weeks later her engagement, the Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce.
Slime Cube.
On the big screen, a movie inspired by a video game ruled the box office, while K-pop Demon Hunters became the most streamed movie ever on Netflix, powered by an infectious soundtrack featuring the song Golden. Also golden, Anora winning the Oscar for Best Picture.
Welcome to the pit. Let's go save some lives.
Freshman TV shows The Pit and The Studio.
Everyone wants something from me, and I can't give it to them.
Both victorious at the Emmys.
Cowboy Carter.
And Beyonce, who won 3 Grammys, finally taking home the trophy for Album of the Year.
I just want to encourage people to do what they're passionate about.
With that, the world finally made sense until it didn't. The inexplicable 6'7" trend took over social media, and this kiss cam moment from a Coldplay concert became an overnight sensation. Late night TV was rocked by 2 earthquakes. CBS canceled Late Night with Stephen Colbert. Then ABC briefly suspended Jimmy Kimmel for comments made after the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
The MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them.
For another late night staple, it was a year of celebration.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
Saturday Night Live marked 50 years with a star-studded special.
I eat 4 cheese lasagna.
Also celebrating half a century, Jaws. While Peanuts turned 75, and the Radio City Rockettes high-kicked their way to 100. On the diamond, the LA Dodgers repeated as world champs, and the Eagles flew to a Super Bowl win. Green on the gridiron and in the theater.
I'm off to see the wizard.
The final chapter of Wicked from our sister company Universal Pictures gave fans something to sing about for good. Joe Fryer, NBC News.
Now, Joe Fryer's a talented guy, but notice how he didn't explain it either, because no one knows.
It certainly seems to be one of those strange trends that doesn't really have a background, but it might not go anywhere ever again.
I sure hope.
I feel like it's only getting stronger.
Well, here I am talking about it. You know,
I mean, it's made mainstream media. Like here we are.
And the kiss cam.
I know. When I dropped, like, these people cannot catch a break.
Oh,
my God.
gosh.
Joe Fryer was
not to
putting everybody on
condone,
blast.
but
no, absolutely.
But
God, there just comes some level of privacy.
To put it on the level of Taylor Swift engagement,
Bad Bunny, like SNL 50. I mean, that is 2025. I can't, and I'll tell you, and I don't know how if people feel the same way. So many of those moments that were mentioned, like Cowboy Carter, you talk about like the Eagles Super Bowl, like so much has happened this year. So many of those things I would have sworn were 2023 or 2024. I mean, this has been a very long year, chock full of so many interesting moments.
Now, to be fair, I felt the exact same way about the 2025 political moments.
Right? No, I mean, it's crazy. I love these packages when they drop them. We do them every year because it is so interesting that so much happens within a year. Like we talk about time and its relativity and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But if you look at January 1 of last year, all the way to this year. I mean, it really has been a jam-packed year, and a good year to launch like 13 new hours of news. I mean, we've had lots of stuff. I mean, if you watch that political one or even the pop culture one, we've talked about all of these and had them live here on the show. So this has been kind of an interesting little proof of concept of what we're trying to do here on Live Impact News, because we had every single one of these moments live here on our show, which is so interesting for a local news station to have had that. So a really interesting year. Looking forward to more in 2026.
I did get to break the Taylor Swift news. That was very fun.
That's true. That happened right here. I remember.
Very cool.
Somebody ran in live to break some completely irrelevant point of news in the middle of that subject. I couldn't even remember who it would be.
No idea.
But that probably did happen.
On that note, getting back to some local news, we're going to get to an interview that our Vanessa Rufus did with the local animal shelter here about ways that you can help out. Of course, they're looking for end-of-year donations. This is the perfect time to donate if you're feeling generous.
So the Season of Second Chances is our end-of-year giving campaign. We always do this, but this is the second year that we've actually called it Season of Second Chances. And I think it's something that really resonates with people, and we've decided that that's going to be kind of our signature year-end giving event every year. And what Season of Second Chances is it's our annual giving campaign to our donation fund. And of course, our donation fund is there because our budget doesn't cover every single thing that we need. And the more expensive food and medication and all of that get, the more we rely on donations to help us support our special programs that we have, along with our community outreach.
Yeah, I guess if you could talk about, how you've seen pricing change for things. And I know that y'all have a wide range of items and services that you pay for. So you probably have seen it across the board.
We have. So because we operate a lot like a kennel, and that we have to clean the kennels and sterilize the kennels and everything, there's a lot of money in the operating budget that goes towards all the supplies. And we have to buy, of course, special cleaning supplies when you're cleaning after 200 to 300 animals every day. There are certain things that you have to do, and they're pricey, but there's certain products that you must use to be able to clean and disinfect properly. Then, of course, all of the medication is kind of like being like an animal hospital. So we've got our own pharmacy, and it's supplied with all kinds of medication to treat everything from upper respiratory infection to cleaning wounds and that sort of thing. So we've got all of that stuff. Then we've got our programs that are supported by our donations. And those are things like our foster program. A lot of money goes in to support the amazing fosters in the community by providing everything they need. So with that, you're talking about crates and beds and blankets and food and medications and you name it, anything that they need, we try our best to provide. So there's no money out of pocket to the fosters to be able to help us with the foster program. We also have our kittens. So about 10 months out of the year, we're full on, raising baby kittens in the foster program, and kittens require their own list of supplies, including like milk replacement and all kinds of things, that bottles and the nipples for the bottles and the special ones that you have to have. Also, we need leashes, we need harnesses, we need collars, all the things for the volunteers to be able to walk the dogs and take the dogs off the site, and things like that. So there's just so many things, Vanessa. Our Amazon wish list is the best place to go to actually see all the things that we constantly need. And the one biggest thing that we need are treats and peanut butter all year long, and Kongs and Nylabones. So that's talking about our pet enrichment program.
So, I know that you have set a goal for this end of year campaign. How is that going? And do you really need to get folks here kind of right under the buzzer to meet that goal?
We do. So we're so close. We're really, really close. And of course, we want to meet the goal, but it would be even better to exceed the goal. Last year, we were able to exceed our goal. And we've still got another good week or two left. I guess it ends the 31st. So yeah, we've got some time. We're super close. The last I heard, we were maybe about $5,000 to $10,000 away from hitting the goal. So if everyone could help, I just want them to know that everything that you donate if you put in the comment box season of second chances, it's going to go to all the things that we just talked about, all of the things that not only support our pet enrichment, like the Kongs and the Nylabones and things like that, but also even some of our community outreach as well. So if we're out in the community doing rabies shots and things like that, it may help pay for the syringes for the rabies shots and things like that. So it's really helping in so many ways, pay for so many things that people probably wouldn't even realize that we need.
Yeah. I know that around the holidays as well, there's always a big push for adoptions and fostering too, depending on, the weather that can kind of impact how many folks are naturally going through your kennels, taking a look at your dogs and cats. But is there anything you'd like to share as far as, the need on that front? Always seems to be kind of a full house around your parts. So what are you seeing as far as the shelter conditions right now?
So the same. We're very full, and we're always needing the dogs to move out and into foster homes. And I think that one of the good recommendations that I had is the shelter is going to be closed on Christmas, the day after Christmas, and then New Year's Day. So on those days, that means that there are going to be no animals that are able to leave the shelter and go out through adoption or foster or staycation. So if you're having kind of a low-key Christmas, you're not traveling, but you're staying at home, and maybe you have some extra days off, think about coming and grabbing one of the dogs from the kennels and give them a Christmas at your house or a New Year's at your house. That will greatly help the kennel space for the fact that we're being closed. If you grab them, then that's going to open some kennels up for the animals that are going to come in on Christmas and after Christmas, because we're not closed to the back. The animals are still coming in on those days. We're just obviously closed to the public. So that would be an amazing thing. And one other thing, Vanessa, that totally escaped me when we were talking about the season of second chances is the biggest thing I think that resonates with people about this fund is our Second Chance Medical Fund. And that is where we have animals that may come in with injuries, or we discover that maybe they have some sort of medical issue while we're there. And we don't always have the money in our operating budget to spend, $1,000 on a broken leg that needs a pin, and we may have to send it out to a vet to be done, like with an orthopedic surgery. We use that money to be able to do that. And I know you're familiar with a lot of cases that we've done that for. And so basically what happens is when an animal comes in that needs considerable medical, we've got that Second Chance Medical Fund where we're literally giving the animal a second chance by paying to get it fixed, or the animal fixed, the issue, whatever it might be. And then that animal then will recover in a foster home and then be available for adoption. So 20, 30 years ago, that wasn't possible to save all those animals. And now today it is. And we save so many lives because of that.
That's a really good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. Another thing about the holidays too is you do inevitably have folks who come and feel like they want to have a new family member that they introduce around this time of year. And it's really important for folks to do, I think, a lot of research into not only, the type of animal you want, but also, age, size, all that stuff, activity level. And I'm sure there are so many other tips that you'd like folks to know about too, about incorporating a brand new family member this holiday season.
Yes. So some of the things that we've been suggesting is to make sure that this is something you've been thinking about. It's not just a rash decision that, oh, the kids put it on the list to Santa, so let's go do this. You definitely don't want to do it that way. But legitimately, if you have been thinking about it, what we like to say is a good way to do it is go to a pet supermarket and get all the supplies. So if you're planning on adopting a dog, go there, get all the supplies you're going to need, wrap them up under the tree, and then the kids can open that for Christmas, and then wait until after the holidays are done and all of the all the excitement and the parties have kind of subsided, and then bring the whole family to the shelter. And then that way you start looking at dogs together. And then instead of automatically adopting, we suggest that you do a staycation. And that's the program that we have where you can take a dog up to 10 days and kind of give it a little bit of a test drive and see how it does with everybody, see how it does with your schedule, your house. You know, do you have time to actually walk the dog? If you don't have a backyard, you know, then you're going to need to give it more exercise. And, you know, if you have another pet, you can see how it does with another pet. And then especially if you have young children, make sure that it's going to get along with young children. So I think those are my tips, that if you really are planning on doing this for the holidays, that's the best plan to have, is make sure that is a decision that you're making for the life of the pet, and then come at it as not such a, oh, we have to have a dog under the tree for Christmas, but let's all do this as a family, because that's going to ensure that everybody gets a chance to meet the right animal, and then also then bring it home and try it out first before you make that final commitment.
Yeah, my most recent foster, that's how the family actually found her. They came as a family, literally brought the little ones too, and met dogs just in the kennels. And this was when she was under a stray hold. And then we ended up pulling her into foster, but family had already connected with her at the shelter, but they had everyone involved. And I think that was really something they said that made a difference, was the fact they knew that she was really gentle with the kids, just interacting through the kennel door. And then they did the staycation. They were able to see over a few days whether she was right. And I think that's something that I always think is really valuable, a really valuable option for folks to take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. I would tell everyone to do that. If it were me communicating with my friends, I would tell everyone to do that. And then that way you make sure that it's the right fit for everyone. And the one thing I'd like to say, Vanessa, to kind of finalize this, is a lot of people feel like that they feel bad if they don't adopt, like if they're like, bringing the dog back to the shelter. And I'm like, don't feel bad, because we learn so much valuable information while you have the animal in your home, and like when it's on foster and things like that. And we get all of that wonderful information back when you bring the animal back. And then that we were able to add it to the animal's bio, so more people can learn about the personalities and know that the dog liked riding in the car, and then the dog loved and did great with young children, and all the things that, are very important to know when you're selecting a pet to join your family.
Yeah, that's always something I tell the families, that take our fosters, if they take them on staycation, is don't think of it as a failure if it doesn't work out. Like, sometimes these things happen, right, and I'd rather it be a great fit, like an amazing fit for your family and for the dog. And like, we will always take them back, that is not a problem.
Yes.
The other thing I guess I wanted to touch on right now, considering we are in the colder months, and I know it's like a really big topic this time of year when it does start to get cold, any, things that you think folks should be keeping an eye out for, whether they have pets that maybe they're seeing in their neighborhood that are outdoors, and what do you recommend folks do? Because I feel like that's something that we tend to get a lot of questions about this time of year.
It is. You're absolutely right. When the temperatures drop, we do see a spike in our calls for service for animal welfare checks. And that's just what we're looking at. Like, if you see an animal that's outside and it maybe doesn't have the proper shelter or things like that, or the proper things to keep it warm, then you want to call 311, and you just want to put in a call for service for what's called an animal welfare check. And what that's going to do is that's going to prompt a call for service for an officer to go out and look, make touch base with the person, the home that you're seeing this at, or the business that you're seeing this at, or whatever it may be. And they're just going to check on the welfare of the animal. And the nice thing to know is that you can remain anonymous if you make that call. You don't have to give your name and number. If you want to get a report back, then you're going to have to provide your name and number. But I know a lot of people are uncomfortable because they don't want people knowing who was calling and reporting them. So I just wanted to make it clear that anytime that you think that there's an animal that is not being taken care of and it's possible animal abuse, you do not have to leave your name. You can remain anonymous. So I think that's important for people to know. And otherwise, just it's kind of like common sense when you're thinking about like the weather. And if we start getting like colder temperatures, and especially if we get any type of precipitation or freezing rain or anything like that, always just make sure that when you're walking your animals, when you bring them back from a walk, you want to clean off the dog's paws because they may get that ice melt on them. Make sure you're careful with your antifreeze because that's deadly for pets. So always look for the pet-friendly kind to use. And then, of course, any type of pet, you're going to want to talk to your veterinarian because if you have an older animal, you're going to want to limit the length of the walk and stuff when it's super cold out. And of course, the fur, like I have huskies that you can probably hear running around in the background.
We saw some fluffy tails behind you.
and they love it. They are more built for the weather than say like a Chihuahua would be. So, just consider what breed you have and what ages your animals are because the cold weather is going to affect them more like it does humans. It's going to be harder for older people to be out when it's cold and they need to bundle up. It's the same thing with older dogs as well.
Yeah. Well, I know we talked about a lot of topics. Is there anything that you want to add? I didn't ask about any of the topics we covered or anything I didn't ask, topic wise.
Yeah, no, I think we covered a lot. I think it's exciting that, we're getting into the holiday season and, I just wanted to take a minute to thank the Charlotte and surrounding community and you guys at WCNC for all the support that you guys provide animal care and control and the animals in our care. Without you letting the public know about our needs, we would not be able to get that information out and for the public to come and foster and adopt and donate. So thank you, Vanessa, for all of your hard work that you do and the whole team at WCNC for always supporting us.
Oh, well, thank you. We're happy to do it. And we are grateful for you, all of you, over at Animal Care and Control. I know it's grueling at times. I've seen it firsthand, the things that y'all go through and the passion that you have for animals as well, which I know that plays a big role in why you're able to do this day in and day out. So thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I do have a rescue. His name is Louie. He's a lovely cat. Jeb, what's going on, man?
I'm waiting for the right time. Vanessa keeps trying to get me to pick up a dog as well. I'm going to. I know. That might be my 2026. Just with our weird hours, it's difficult. I want a dog. I don't want a cat. I want a dog.
Well, that is the thing. Dogs are much harder with the weird hours because I can leave Louie for 12 hours. He might not even notice. He might be asleep the entire time.
And he might actually enjoy it.
Hey. You're right. No, unfortunately,
I met Louie. That guy can get down. He's
fortunately and unfortunately at times I do have the world's clingiest, chattiest cat.
Yes, so, he likes to be around. He's big on that. So I respect.
They also do go to the bathroom in the house, so there are pros and cons with cats and dogs.
I like the fact I go on walks all the time. You can see me walk around Plaza Midwood, Elizabeth, sometimes Noda if I'm feeling adventurous. I'd love a dog to do that. Because the other thing is, it's when you're walking around at night, because I get off at 8 or 9. I feel like people are like, what is this guy doing just walking around? At least with a dog.
This loser.
Right.
What is he doing?
What is he doing? He's
what?
He looks way too cold. At least with a dog, I'd have a purpose. Who would understand?
He's safe.
Right, exactly. There's a difference. Because I'd have a cute dog, probably a little overweight, because I don't know the portions to feed dogs. So most of the dogs that I've been in charge of they get well walked. They just get exceptionally well fed.
The best of both worlds.
Right, exactly. I mean, they all seem very happy. My average lifespan is 13 or 14.
It's pretty good.
For small dogs. So anyways, that's my...
Would you get a small dog?
I would get, it'd be a rescue. So the smallest dog that could enlarge that I find, I would love.
Small in stature, but wide.
Yes.
Okay. I hear
taking
you.
Up, yes.
I could see you with a basset hound.
Yeah, I'd love a basset hound. My dream dog is one day, and it probably wouldn't be a rescue at that point, but a bulldog one day, a rescue, and then a bulldog. That'll be my pair. So.
Hey.
One day, we hope.
You never know, because there are all sorts of breeds at different shelters. My parents got a mix of a black lab and a golden.
Yeah, and your
at a
parents'
shelter.
dog is beautiful.
She's beautiful. She's a lot of work.
Yes, she seems
God
like
bless
a lot
her.
of work.
God bless her. So sweet. So sweet. A lot of energy.
A lot of energy. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
We could be like, oh, so puppy energy is gonna. No, it's not. It's not gonna wear off.
It's good for them. It's good for them. I feel like it
Yes.
keeps them young.
They go hiking.
Right, exactly.
They go out.
It's
She
good.
comes to visit.
Yep. Build Legos together.
It's a good time. Anyway, we're gonna take a break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News. It is just about 10:40 on your Friday morning. I'm sure a lot of kids out there are playing with their presents that they may have gotten yesterday that may include a lot of technology, whether it's phones, tablets, iPads. Starting younger and younger, it feels like that kids are getting involved with technology, whether it be out of school or even in school. So our Jesse Pierre did a story on this and got a chance to speak with an expert about how to make sure your kid is safe while engaging in that technology.
If you could, for the record, give me your first, last name, spell it, and your full title.
It's Mary Catherine Elkins, MaryKathryn Elkins, and I am the Director of Healing Services at Pat's Place Child Advocacy Center.
Stuff. It's like, from the Sycamore, rape allegations to child exploitation and just a lot of different things dealing with kids. What goes through your mind every time you see another person arrested or accused of any kind of charges like that?
Yeah, I think one of the things that stood out to me in kind of looking at these cases around the state is that many of them came to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children cyber tip line. And when I see that, I feel like, great, the investigative process is working. I am glad when people that are engaging in these behaviors are identified and are brought in. I think also about the victims, of course. I think about all the children and families potentially around the world that are impacted by child sexual imagery and sexual abuse material. And I think about, what we can do as a community to educate everybody on online safety, because it is such an ever-changing world. And now when we think about generative AI and some of the other things that are happening out there, it's such an overwhelming world to have to step into. But as parents and as caregivers, it's something that we have to really educate ourselves about.
with all that, the dangers kind of just continue to increase and come in different ways, and predators become not smarter, but are finding different ways to target kids. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I think, we're seeing a lot of these apps that were designed to give kids online gaming opportunities, to engage with other kids and to build community, and now they're sort of being utilized by some of these adult predators in inappropriate ways. And so I think that, we have to start talking to our kids much earlier. There are really young kids that are on iPads, and we might connect them to one particular app or one particular game, but it's really easy for them to click on something else on the iPad. And so I think really starting with kids at a very young age to talk to them about privacy, to talk to them about like what information you should or shouldn't be giving out online. Those are all things that are really important because, I think one of the things that's special about kids is that they see the good in everybody, and they're not able to really imagine some of the dark side, but we want to really help them to be critical thinkers in a digital world, and to understand, that not everyone has bad intentions, but we need to know what is safe for us to share, what's safe for us to do. So NCMEC, which is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, has great materials online, and they start for kids as young as age 5. So there's really good resources out there. And of course, it should all be developmentally appropriate, but we do need to teach our kids from an early age, never give your phone number or email address out, never give your home address out. Don't even really talk too much about your family, because it's hard to know really who is on the other side of that conversation. Some people with bad intentions have gotten really good at acting like they're other kids, and so we really want to make sure that we're not sharing a lot of personal details.
A couple of things you mentioned, but one, even as young as 5, but like with games and all things like that, you can connect with someone and, be communicating and playing with other people. Kind of talk to me about the dangers and safety and things kids need to keep in mind for that.
Yeah, I think that there are some things to be aware of. And one, as a caregiver of a child who is participating in online gaming, one thing is I think that we always need to be monitoring. So, with my kids and their phones, they know that at any time I might pop into their phone and look at what they're doing. I also try to just be present when they're engaging in these online games. Like if they're up in their room with the door shut, it's hard to know what's going on. So some of it I think is parent monitoring, but also for kids to just let them know if the person that you're talking to is talking to you about the game, then that's appropriate. If they start asking you questions about where do you live, or how old are you, or what kind of things do you like to do, these are things that are a little bit more concerning, because oftentimes peers, other young kids or teens, they're probably going to be really focused just on the game that you're playing. If they start asking some probing questions about your personal life, that could be a sign that it's somebody who may be pretending to be a kid. And so I think we just want to be really careful with how we share information. So making sure that our kids understand that, yes, you might be looking for a friend, you might be wanting to make a connection with someone, but you can do that without sharing personal information. And if anyone wants to move a relationship out of the digital world into the real world, that's a sign that we should be concerned about that. And so we really want to talk to our kids about making sure that we're never agreeing to meet someone that we don't know in real life. And, sometimes we see where adults who are sort of engaging with kids in inappropriate ways want to send them gifts or send them things through the mail or things like that. And that should not be happening either. And so those are signs, again, that it's probably an inappropriate interaction.
It obviously gets more challenging when you're dealing with like a young teen, right, who may feel like, I'm okay, I can whatever, but they don't know what the dangers are on the other side, of that screen, and they can put themselves in a bad situation. Kind of talk to me about that. And I don't know, I guess the conversation you should be having with teens who are having I guess, building friendships or et cetera, on the screen or social media or doing things like that.
Yeah, I think that is a good point, because teens these days are making connections, outside of their school and meeting. They have online connections with kids at all kinds of, schools all around the state. And so it is natural to them to think like, oh yeah, we became friends online or through an app, and now I'm going to meet them at a party or something like that. I think that there's several things there. One is that the teen should be really weighing the risk, just like you would in the real world. We all have instincts. We have gut reactions about people. We kind of know in the real world what's safe and what's not safe. And we want to teach kids the same thing about the digital world. Just because you think you know someone online doesn't mean that that's really who they are. And we all know that from looking at social media. People represent themselves however they want to on social media. And so I think that we really want to make sure that when we talk to kids, we should use real life examples. We should be talking about like these things that are happening in the news. We don't have to give them graphic details, but we can be saying these are some real things that are happening around the country as a result of social media interactions that turned, moved into the real world. Sorry. And I think we also want to make sure that we as caregivers or as adults in these kids' lives are setting ourselves up to be that trusted adult, so that if a teen comes to us and says, yeah, like I made this friend online and they asked me if we could meet in person, we can be a part of having that conversation with them about why that may or may not be a good idea. Or if you do want to meet them, maybe I can go with you and I can, sit at the table next to you so that you can have a little bit of privacy. But that you can also, I'm right there if you need me. So we really want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up to be trusted adults that are not judgmental, that are not jumping to conclusions, that are just able to help these kids to think through these scenarios.
Another thing that happens is folks are getting arrested for sharing pictures of kids, So talk to me about what the conversation looks like as far as kids sharing images of themselves, young and teens.
Yeah, I think the ultimate thing to remember is that you can't control where those images end up. So you might think that you're just texting it to, a partner or a friend, but their phone could be hacked or they could send it to someone else. I mean, there's a million scenarios where all of a sudden now that image can be circulated worldwide. So someone said this recently, and I thought this was good advice, that you should never share something on your phone, like via text or on social media, that you wouldn't want to be put on a large screen in your school auditorium. And so the other way to think of it is you should never share something that you don't want your parents to see. I mean, there are some things that, we need to protect and we need to keep private, and images of ourselves are number one in those things, because we really can't control who's going to get it, who's going to screenshot it, who's going to share it widely. So
let's switch to, you're the child, you're the teen, you've done this, you've sent a picture, you've had a conversation, you've met up, or whatever. Parents on the back end, how you found out that the picture has been sent. What do they do, and what actions do they need to take?
So the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children does have a Take It Down program. So you can reach out to them and they can help work with you to get the image taken down. Once it's out there, though, again, like I said, you can't control where it goes, but what you would want to do as a caregiver is just really make sure that you're not shaming the child, that they're kids and they're learning. And also us as adults, we are learning this world too. This digital landscape is ever changing, and it's confusing and it's hard and it's scary. And my kids laugh at me all the time because I'm like, look at this video. They're like, Mom, that's AI. But I can't tell the difference. So we want to, as parents, to just give grace and also make sure that we're using it as a moment to say, like, thank goodness you're okay. And let's not do that again, and here's why. And so just really making sure that we're setting some structure with them around what's appropriate, what's not. Once an image is out there, doing whatever we can to get it taken down, but also knowing that it may be circulated. And so talking to the child about, like, please come to me if you learn that it is being circulated, because I can intervene in a way that you can't as a kid. And so we want to make sure we're protecting them from any sort of bullying or mental health consequences that might come with those images being shared.
Like, how would what are the steps as far as reporting it? I mean, it's like...
Yeah, you go to missingkids.org, and they have on their website, that's the website for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and you'll see on their website they have the cyber tip line, which has been instrumental in some of these cases we've seen around the state. That's where you can report any inappropriate content that's being shared or that someone is possessing. But then if you click on, let's see where it is.
Is this something you would report to your local law enforcement too? On top of that, or?
You can, yeah. Certainly if you know that someone is in possession of child pornography, you would certainly want to report that to local law enforcement. But if you know that teens are circulating an image, if it's within a school, you might want to go to the school resource officer. If it's something that's extended beyond the school at this point, yes, you can certainly go to law enforcement. One thing that kids don't know that is something they should know is that if you have a picture of someone who is a minor on your phone and that is shows some of the parts of their body that we don't see normally, and you're sharing that is considered child pornography. And so you can actually be charged with distribution of that. And so we really want to make sure that kids know how serious the consequences can be if we're spreading these images around. And so certainly reporting it to the school, reporting it to local law enforcement can help stop the spreading of it. But if it's on social media, then the take it down approach from missingkids.org is a good way to go as well.
Then last question, obviously there's a stranger online and so forth, but it could be, they can come in different ways, right? We had a school resource officer who might see you in school every day, and you might think it's okay to send him a message, or a teacher and so forth, coach and so forth. So I guess kind of talk to me about how different, or it could be anyone, I guess, that
that's true. I guess my mentioning the school resource officer just then, I wasn't thinking about the case with the school resource officer.
No, and
maybe we don't want to use that part.
No worries.
So say your question again.
So the question is, having a conversation with them that there is a stranger danger that you see online that you don't know, but a relationship and pictures and inappropriate relationship can develop with anyone in your I guess in your
sphere.
In your sphere.
Yeah. So I think again, when we're talking with young kids, and I start this conversation at a really young age. We talk about stranger danger, but what we don't talk a lot about is people that danger also, and people that we are acquainted with who have access to our kids. Oftentimes the relationship starts off in a way that we think is great. We're like, oh, thank goodness there's another adult showing some attention to my kid. And many times that's just what it is. It's a great teacher, or it's a great coach who's giving your kid appropriate attention, and that's awesome. When it starts to shift to where an adult is trying to get a kid isolated from other kids, or is giving gifts or lots of extra kind of one-on-one time and attention to a kid, that's when we really want to be concerned. And so talking to our kids about hey, it's great to have a whole bunch of trusted adults in your life, but you shouldn't be alone in a room with an adult. You shouldn't be, behind a closed door with an adult. And it's okay to say no to those kinds of interactions. So just kind of giving them some tips on child safety for themselves. Make sure that you're with a buddy if, all the time. if you're the last one left at soccer practice, make sure that you're kind of sitting out somewhere in public view. So we want to just have conversations with kids about kind of environmental awareness around them. And also, we don't want them to be afraid of everybody, but we just want them to be able to use some critical thinking skills to kind of know what's kind of in the appropriate relationship and interaction category and what sort of starts to bleed over into that inappropriate category.
Like, that is everything I need, and I apologize because I'm like the messages, the texts, the emails, I need to get out the door. Like, it's gonna be another full day. I appreciate you too.
My gosh, there's so much. When you said like the tragedy, I'm like, what else is going on? My gosh.
No, we're following the plane crash. I'm supposed to have a press conference today, and then
that's so sad. And then I saw Governor Hunt died. And that made me, I actually have a note right here to his wife that I'm writing. My dad was a judge, and he appointed my dad to the bench when my dad was like 33. He was one of the youngest judges ever appointed. And Governor Hunt, I didn't even know he was the governor at the time. I was little, and he used to leave messages on our answering machine. It was like, "Hey, this is Cousin Jim," and I really thought he was my cousin. I didn't know. I didn't know who he was. He was just this really nice man that would call us sometimes. So anyway,
well, I'm sorry
for
your loss. Yeah.
All right, you've been listening into an interview that our Jessie Pierre did with an expert on child safety about what to do, how to make sure your child's safe after they get technology on Christmas. We're going to head to our next thing here on WCNC Plus, but we will be back here, me and Jeb, at 12:30 with all your headlines. So join us back then. We'll see you in a bit.